on BTN. 23-19, Iowa a winner over Minnesota, so the perfect run is over for the Gophers. Their 9th straight loss in Iowa City, 14th in their last 15 games against ranked teams. Let's listen in to PJ Fleck at the podium in Iowa City.
First of all, you got to give University of Iowa a lot of credit. Congratulations to Kirk Ferentz and the Hawkeyes. Had a tremendous game plan, did a really good job, really good football team. I think we all knew that, this would be this type of game when you're looking at those two teams and what they do and the schematics that they have in this environment. We fell down early, and it took us a little bit out of our rhythm. We haven't been down early like that in a long time, and took us out of our rhythm. Got to give them credit. We missed a field goal. Weren't able to execute on some third downs early. We're able to, get 6 points at halftime, which was really good for us. Then we came out and scored on the first possession, which was really good for us. But again, it came down to the blocking, the tackling, and the execution of plays, and they did a better job with that than we did. And that was the name of the game, execution, and we didn't execute. I don't think we played particularly well on either side of the ball, offense, defense, or special teams. Credit goes to them as well. They have one of the best defenses in the country. But every time we looked to take 2 steps forward, took 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back. But again, I told my players in there, this is one game. We're 0-1 in the Iowa season. Everything's still sitting right in front of us. If we play a game that poorly, we can come back from it. And, you touched the stove too many times, and we lived in that 22% world that we always talk about, and we got beat tonight. So congratulations goes out to Iowa. We'll open up for questions.
What were some of the issues defensively in the first half, and then second half? You guys brought some more pressure.
Yeah, I felt like, first of all, it was simplistic things, Andy. It was tackling, right? It was setting the edge and setting the edge properly with technique. It was, we were giving way too much ground, and then we felt like we were going to have to put some more pressure on him and be able to get the ball out of his hand a lot more, be able to create some negative plays, and we were able to do that. But I think, we adjusted a little bit, just a little bit too late. You let the game plan go, but when you're missing tackles, that's hard to just sit there and change. You miss a tackle and you're going man coverage, it's a touchdown. So we wanted to keep things in front of us. We just did. We tackled poorly.
So there you see the numbers for Ohio State, 7-0 now in the Big Ten, 10-0 overall, and it sets up the epic showdown against Penn State next week in Columbus, with the winner taking control in the Big Ten East. We've got some intrigue in the West now with Minnesota losing. Remember, they play Wisconsin, I should say, at the end of the year, and so we're both teams to win next week. That game at the end of the season would be for the West title. Things getting very interesting, fellas.
We love intrigue, don't we?
Yes, we're all about intrigue.
And it really is. In recent memory, you think about both divisions, and, man, there's a lot of things still to be played out there. I thought it was interesting with Ryan Day in his press conference, because he says all the right things like all coaches do leading up to the game. But after it's over, say, we won the game, come on, let's get on to Penn State. Let's forget about it.
We're going to talk about this game for all of 1 second.
We're going to watch the film out, maybe.
No, seriously, though, that's what I was getting ready to follow up with. I've been in those situations where you play an opponent like a Rutgers and you get out there and you have a pretty good win. You don't even show the tape to the players on Sunday. You move straight into the next game, and I think that's probably what they're going to end up doing. So it'll be interesting to see how they attack it. I think Penn State's shown some things where they've been vulnerable, but also Ohio State, I think there have been some things on tape where they can try to attack them. I'm really curious to see how that plays out. Obviously a big game. And then in the West, Minnesota, they took one. We were kind of flying high on them. I still think they're a really good team, but Wisconsin's sitting right there, probably licking their chops right now, seeing where they can go ahead and get some probably good play in a couple of weeks against them.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, Wisconsin, they better not look past Purdue.
That's a good.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's give Iowa a ton of credit
Absolutely.
on this day, and that is such a difficult place to play. You think, guys, last 10 games against top 10 teams they're 5-5 against top 10 teams.
Yeah. I know how tough it is to play there.
We don't need to tell you.
Firsthand, it's tough. It really is. The thing about Iowa, that stadium, Kinnick Stadium, and the fans, they're rough on the opposing coach because they become participants, not spectators.
I've never played there, but I've heard all the stories. Mike Martin's told me a million of them, and I'm glad I never had to play there because it might have been a bad outcome. But, yeah, those guys, they look really impressive today.
Yeah, no doubt. Give them a ton of credit. Very quickly, your biggest takeaway from the day.
My biggest takeaway from the day is that Iowa had to do what they had to do offensively to beat this team.
Shea Patterson throwing the ball looked really, really good today. And you can say that he's taken leaps and bounds. It's really good coming toward the end of the year to be playing like that.
You wonder whether the biggest challenge for Ohio State might be Michigan rather than Penn State.
Could be.
We have two really tough ones coming up. We have Indiana